Okay, I'm going to be making some opening remarks here. Hello, YouTubers. John Gilkison here. Phil Knox. Philip K. Knox? R. Knox. I'm sorry about that. Got too many K's going around in my head. It is
18th?
Saturday, April 18th, 2026. And it's Aerostealth here, and you're
Aerohead, I think.
Aerohead, yeah. That's our eco-modder handles. So anyway, we're camping in Monaghan's Sandhill State Park in Texas, and we're leaving tomorrow, so we want to go ahead and shoot this video. It's usually a rite of passage. We shoot a video whenever we're here, so we don't have a lot to say today apparently, but we do have a couple subjects we wanted to talk about. And the first thing we're going to talk about is I hooked Phil up last night with his Chevrolet Bolt with a 32 amp level 2 charger at his campsite, and he charged back up to from 20% up to 80% in like 6 hours. And so what'd you think of that, Phil?
Liked it a lot compared to what I was paying Electrify America for DC fast charging coming over here.
Which was what?
64 cents a kilowatt hour.
Price?
Worked out at like $24.50 a gallon equivalency.
A lot of times I see prices for Electrify America around 56 cents. If you're a member, you're a member, aren't you?
I am a member. Although this Iran, whatever we're doing over there, may have affected it. Straits of Hormuz. Don't know.
I doubt it. Doesn't have much to do with electrical prices yet.
Well, natural gas is tied to a barrel of oil probably in Permian Basin, so there may be a link.
You know, usually electric companies don't just willy-nilly raise their rates. Now the Electrify America might.
Yeah, my home rate has not changed since I got it.
Same here.
Which is 12.5 cents kilowatt hour, and it's solar. So I was carbon neutral till I got to Eastland, Texas, and then I started perhaps contributing a bit.
We been paying 12 cents kilowatt hour since we moved to Radium Springs, New Mexico back in '86. It had never changed. It was actually, it might have been lower. It might have been 11 or 10 when we first got there. But, it's very stable. That's the thing about having electric cars. Is charging at home is a very stable price. I'm charging on an off-peak rate of 4.72 cents a kilowatt hour. For 8 hours I can do that. And that's the equivalent of $1.75 a gallon gasoline. And that's for a car that gets 112 miles per gallon. So that's a win. And as I keep explaining to people, I don't usually pay anything. It cost me, if I was paying for it, it cost me like $22, $20 a month to charge my car for 15,000 miles a year. And my electric bill last month was $4.38. So obviously I'm not paying for all that. That's to run my whole household and charge my car for a whole month. So I'll leave it to your imagination. So you're paying 12. Have you made any accounting? Do you know how much your electric bills went up because of an electric car at all?
Right now, to run the entire household, air condition the house, and charge the car, I'm paying less a month than I paid in 1986 in Dallas for a 300 square foot beginner apartment. It was all electric.
Which is what?
It was $80 a month.
You're paying less than that.
Yeah. In 2026, I'm paying less to run a household and charge a car.
Yeah.
And that's with inflation, you know.
Well, one of the things I've been talking to Phil about, because right now he's just 120 volt charging his car because he needs a 240 volt breaker installed in his panel box and outlet installed, and he's got the level 2 charger and extension cord and all that even, but just hasn't been able to get around to setting that up yet. But one of the things I've been talking to him about is and it's a new discovery for me, and I raised this issue in my last video, but apparently there's just pretty much a fixed cost for charging. Basically, when you plug your car into charge, you're turning it on. You're turning on any kind of cooling or heating loops that are needed for the battery. You're turning on the computer and the BMS, and then there's an inverter in the car that is converting AC power into DC power so you can charge your battery. And one of the figures I've seen, it was on a Nissan Leaf, of course, but it was 300 watts. And I can't tell you what that cost is for each and every car. You'd have to track it using a plug-in dongle and an app and figure that stuff out for your specific car. But let's take 300 watts as a base figure. So what happens is it doesn't matter whether you're level 2 charge or you're level 1 charge. You're still spending 300 watts every hour to charge your car. So if you level 1 charge and it takes you 40 hours to fully charge your car, that's 40 hours times 0.3 kilowatts, which is what? So 12 kilowatt hours. Is it not, Phil?
I think that's what we got off the calculator the other day.
Yeah, so
that's fixed. That's not negotiable.
Right, but if you level 2 charge, it only takes you 6 hours. 6 times 0.3 is 1.8 kilowatt hours is all it takes. That's your handling fee for charging your car. Well, there's a big difference between 12 and 1.8. It's literally over 6 or 7 times as much just to level 1 charge. And it's been my pet peeve for a long time. I've seen a lot of guys on YouTube and various influencers, they call themselves, advising people to just level 1 charge. That's all you need, they say, without explaining to people you're paying a big penalty for doing that. And if you can possibly arrange to get a 240 volt circuit and get off that slow charging, your ancillary costs go way down.
Yeah, I mean, I'm literally robbing another family from electricity that they could be charging their car with until I get the voltage up on, with the level 2.
Mm-hmm. It's all about speed. I used to think it was just, I always dealt with charging losses as a percentage figure, and I was sidetracked by the percentage. And the percentage goes up or down relative to this time constant I'm talking about. It's not that level 1 charging is inherently more inefficient than level 2, although a level 2 might generate a little bit more heat. It's the time constant is the primary thing that costs you money. It's not the inefficiency of the inverter or the car or anything else. Okay? So that was one thing we were discussing. But the other thing we've been discussing is the cost of DC fast charging on the highway. And it can be all over the map, but we just now figured it out. At today's gas prices, I use $4.99, 4099 for a gallon of gas, regular gas. And it came out to 42 cents a kilowatt hour. It's functionally equivalent to that.
That's the break-even point.
That's the break-even point. So if you're buying electricity at a DC fast charger for less than 42 cents a kilowatt hour, then you are buying your gallon equivalent of gas cheaper than you would if you were driving a gas car. But most of them are more expensive than that. I think Tesla's around 44, isn't it?
In Denton, when I left, it was 40, and Mercedes was 30 at Buc-ee's. They've got either end of the parking lot festooned with DC fast charging. So right now, Mercedes, they have the lowest price per kilowatt hour.
I've never seen one or used one where I am.
In France, this is the highest. And Electrify America, well, I paid 64.
I've paid 56 most places. But I've seen 46 cents for Tesla. And we just don't have any Mercedes chargers or anything out there in our charging desert.
This is going to make more sense when we talk about opportunity charging.
Yes. So if I'm paying that amount of money, I'm paying more than people were paying for gasoline. And we're talking more than people were paying for gasoline if we made the cars equivalent. In other words, they're getting 30 miles per gallon, in an electric car, I'm saying I have to buy 3.5 times the amount of electricity to equal it, right? The cost.
3.5 keeps coming up.
3.5, yeah. So 3.5. So even though I'm 3.5 times more efficient, I'm still paying more than an equivalent gas car. That's what we're getting at. And that's a no bueno. I think if the government was doing their job properly, they would regulate the price of electricity at all DC fast charging to an equitable rate. And by equitable, all I mean is it needs to be in the 30s somewhere. They still need to make enough money to pay for their equipment and everything. I understand that, but and I think the utilities ought to be taking the task to get this done. And the government, of course, can fund the infrastructure, and meaning help the utilities even where needed, install the transformers, whatever it is they need to do this. Anyway, that's a separate subject. But what we're getting at is, let's say you set off from your house and use a hypothetical trip to Tucson, or with Phil coming from Denton to Monahans, Texas. So you start out, you leave with 100% charge, but then you have to start charging on the way. So you're paying more. But if you could charge, we're at destination charge. You could charge it when you arrive at your destination, which is a day's travel, is all we're talking about. You get there and then you can charge. You don't arrive like Phil arrived at this campsite on Thursday, and I asked him to make sure he only had about 20% in his battery so we could charge it here. And so we charged it here far cheaper than you can charge it on the road. And
I was beating the ionics out of the charging stations. They didn't understand that because I was only taking it up to 45% state of charge.
oh, okay.
They could have charged in 18 minutes, but I beat them out, but they had no idea I was leaving at 45%.
Right.
Because I was going to try and arrive here at 20%.
Yeah, it's all planning. But I got the same problem if I go to Tucson and I have to DC fast charge in Tucson. I happen to have a friend. We happen to have friends that live there, so I can stay at their house and they have an electric car and I could charge there. But if I can't use their house or their charger and I have to DC fast charge in Tucson and then turn around and, stay in a motel and then turn around and come back and DC fast charge on the way home, that trip would cost me more than driving a gas car. But I can invert that simply by having destination charging. Now, obviously, that's not going to work on every trip. If you're traveling all the way across the country, you're not going to be able to arrange destination charging at every stop, every night. At least most of us are. Some people could. And I've had bad luck trying to find destination charging at motels. It's hit or miss. Even if they say they have it, sometimes they don't. Or it ain't working or whatever. But if destination charging changes the whole thing. And The whole point of this exercise is our focus on DC fast charging is a little bit misplaced because we need more destination charging. It's just level 2, which is much cheaper to install and the rates are much cheaper. And we don't have it. But any place you are for 6 or 7 hours, staying in a motel or whatever, you can charge much cheaper. And that'll save a trip on cost. It'll make electric cars cheaper than gas cars. But that ain't the case right now. And there's a lot of pundits that like to point this out and say, oh, see, electric cars are no good. Well, it's only in this instance it has to do with traveling. 80-90% of it for the rest of the year, you're just traveling around your hometown and you're just charging at home. And that's not the case at ours. Oh, it's far cheaper to charge at home than 80 or 90% of the year. You think that's the case, Phil?
Yeah. In this camping scenario, that throws a super left curve into the calculus because not only am I charging the car for $15, I'm getting an overnight stay.
Yeah.
I paid $116 for a motel room in Midland coming out. I didn't want to drive the whole thing in one
There
day.
was no level 2 charging
No,
there.
no opportunity charging there.
So here he stays, $15, got a place to stay all night, and he's got charging.
And I've got a trailer that is invisible that I hope to test with the Bolt one day, but with the Toyota pickup, it doesn't affect the range of the truck at all. It's invisible, literally. By adding over 700 pounds, the aerodynamics is so good, it cancels out all the rolling resistance penalty, and actually you just end up neutral. So if I had the RV camper, the micro RV behind the Bolt, I could have my camping overnight plus charge the car, and that's really appealing to me. I could just go from state park to state park.
Yeah.
Never visit a motel.
One of the issues I would run into with, let's say I had a Ford Lightning, which I'm looking to get this year, if one's available, is that right now we've got, you might be able to see it right behind us. See how you can see the logo on it. See it right there in the window? Acadia, it says, backwards.
Keystone, Acadia.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
When we're at a campsite, that trailer takes a 240 volt outlet to run it. It's got air conditioning, refrigerator, all that. And but if I have a Ford Lightning, I can take up. You only get one 240 volt socket at a campsite. I could take up that 240 volt socket to charge the truck, and then plug the trailer into the truck.
Mm-hmm.
So, essentially bringing my own 240 volt socket with me. And so, while I can charge all the time I'm there, and then go ahead and pull it, because the trailer ain't pulling anywhere near the power that the truck pulls to charge. I could charge up to, at 40 amps is, what is that? That's 11 kilowatts. I can charge that truck at one of these campsites on a 50 amp breaker. And that trailer doesn't pull that at all. Nothing near it. So it'd be fine. Might slow down my charging a little bit, but so that's a workable solution too. I just got to be able to get to the campsite. How much time we got here? Okay, yeah, we're coming up on 20-minute mark, and that's long enough to run one of these videos. That was what I was just pointing out is we figured that out the other day, and I'm coming from New Mexico over to Monahans. That's a hypothetical, of course, but I have this distance between El Paso, Texas, and Van Horn, Texas, for my charging. And that's like 120 miles. I got to be able to make 120 miles towing a fifth wheel, which is cutting my range in half. And it's right there on the margins, whether you can make it or not. You might have to slow down to 55 miles an hour to make it. You'd have to really, and you at the El Paso end, you'd have to charge up as much as you could. Now coming out here on tailwind, going back on, I could have a headwind. If I had a headwind and I have to make 120 miles, I gotta slow down. And that's the kind of stuff that without proper aerodynamics, you get involved with a lot more. You know, a better trailer would work wonders in this situation for electric trucks.
Let's see if we can do some of that NASA stuff to your rig.
Yeah.
Improve on that.
Well, that said, that trailer is more efficient than the truck is by itself aerodynamically. It's like got a 0.29 drag coefficient, and the truck is 0.4. That's amazing. You wouldn't think it, but it's got 100 square feet of frontal area, and the truck only has 36 square feet, right?
Mm-hmm.
Anyway, we're going to cut it off there. We're getting 21 minutes, so happy trails, everybody. I know this is a mishmash of stuff we've been talking about,
Yeah.
but
See you down the road.
yeah. Take care, everybody. Bye-bye.